All right, thanks everybody for joining us today. I am seriously happy to be having you today. This is the second working group effort that we are doing for this choice neighborhood plan. I am gonna start sharing my screen again. And today is the last meeting of the second round of meetings. We have had 5 meetings all along, one dedicated for equity and inclusion, one for housing and commercial development, one for education and job training. The previous one today was about safety, security, and health. And we are closing up shop today with transportation and open space. This doesn't mean that it's least important and whatsoever. On the contrary, we are saving the best for last, aren't we? So just a little recap of what we've been doing earlier in the last working group meeting was that first we started kind of like brainstorming in order to find out what are the most pressing issues that are facing the community regarding transportation and open space. Then and from that, the most important notes that we have is that a note regarding community gardens. People are referring to the new playground and Murchison townhomes. About the community garden, there are above ground planters, fruits and vegetables, and it's secured and sustainable. I wasn't in the last meeting and I actually haven't visited the site. I live in Philadelphia. So I wonder if any of you guys can correct me if I am saying any of this wrong, because I am talking about the community garden as if it already exists and it's there. Is that right? Or is this like a wish list, like the community garden is something that you guys want and you wanted to have planters and fruits and veggies?
Could you repeat that again?
Is there already a community garden right now at the Murchison townhouses, or is this a wish list item? Do you guys want to have?
It's a wish list item. We don't have one yet, but we talked about it.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for bringing the notes into context, because I just saw a note of a community garden and it didn't tell me if it was like already there. What about the playground? Is the playground already there, or is this another wish list item?
Another wish list. Yeah.
Okay, good to know. Thank you so much for clarifying all of this. The following notes as well, you guys are talking about creating an artscape that represents the image of the community. You want the artscape to represent a thriving community and to have large scale interventions like sculptures and public arts. You guys want to have money to upgrade the current mural if that is available. You guys want a little free library program that features public art, and you guys want to expand the downtown mural program so that it actually comes into the neighborhood, right? So these are the initial notes that we took from the first meeting. Additionally, we talked about things regarding what's working and what is not working. So originally, the questions for our last working group were, how do local residents feel about walking, biking, and driving or riding transit in the neighborhood? And the note said that there's a bike and pedestrian plan, U24 project coming up, and there's a multi-use path being planned. These are things that were listed as things that are working. Does this sound right? Are you guys agreeing that there's a bike and pedestrian plan coming up and it looks like it's working, that the NC dot plan is in process and that it looks like it's working? Do you guys agree with that, or do you have additional notes about things that are working?
From my perspective, I'm unclear as to what actual plans are in place, because I've heard that there's some money that I just heard Mr. Graham speak on it, but I'm unclear as to what those plans are. I've heard that they're not going to do some things, and I heard they were going to do some things. So I'm not exactly sure as to what the North Carolina Department of Transportation plans actually look like. I heard that the bike lane was on, then I heard it was off. If someone could offer that as an update, if they have that information, I think that's a point of clarification that we would need to have.
So and this is Mr. Graham. It's a couple of things going on. So the first, I guess, sticky note there, the U-24 project, that is an existing transportation improvement project that is going to be implemented by NCDOT. It is a project, it is not a plan, but through continued interaction and coordination and communication with NCDOT, I guess you have to ask for anything if you want to get anything, but I'm thinking NCDOT did have some sidewalk and bicycle lane improvements proposed for the widening project there on Murchison Road, but the community must ask, they must continue to state that that is a need, that is a want in order for NCDOT to actually construct or complete the project with those specifications added onto the project. I don't know specifically, I can definitely find out what the actual spec designs are today for the Murchison World Transportation Improvement Project. The actual bicycle and pedestrian plan is a completed plan. It covers all of Cumberland County. And actually it's for all of the Sandhills area. It includes areas outside of Cumberland County as well, adjacent and contiguous counties. And it has proposed, bicycle and pedestrian pathways, policies such as bike lane and sidewalk improvements for any time an existing roadway corridor or roadway is being widened or improved. So we have to remain cognizant for each project when it comes time and it receives funding, that it can actually be built with those specifications to add the bicycle lanes, to add the sidewalks. Otherwise, it does impact the overall cost and funding for the projects. But when the projects are funded and they can be constructed, we need to make sure that these improvements are added so that they can improve the community as a whole. Those two plans, but as far as our overall transportation plans, we have a metropolitan transportation plan, which covers all of Cumberland County and the adjacent contiguous counties as well. We are going to be updating that beginning this year. We're completing a congestion management plan right now, which just focuses on the existing roadway infrastructure, and we highlight and specify where the congestion points are and safety problematic areas are, intersections, roadways, and we have all of the traffic data or information where we've had accidents throughout all of Cumberland County. And if there are accidents concentrated on Murchison Road, we have that data and information. And if there are improved safety projects that we can suggest, we can also look for funding for improvements that can be made, safety improvements, widening improvements, and all of those things that were listed on the sticky notes, I guess, from some of the previous community meetings. So.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Graham, for all this clarification. Any chance that you could write on the chat a link to where folks can access this Metropolitan Transportation Plan, the bike pedestrian plan, and a link to reach your office in case that they needed more information?
Yeah, I'm gonna do the link to our webpage, which will have references to all of those plans.
Thank you, much appreciated. All right.
I'm sorry for interrupting. This is Lee from the City of Fayetteville. I'd like to add a little extra to Hank's comments.
Absolutely, go ahead.
So in addition to the plans that Hank mentioned, as far as the Sand Hills Regional Bike Plan, the City of Fayetteville, in conjunction with DOT, also completed a pedestrian plan, and a bicycle plan specific to the city of Fayetteville. So those are plans that further expanded upon the regional nature of the Sandhills plan. I'm not able to send links right now, but basically if you Google City of Fayetteville bike plan or City of Fayetteville pedestrian plan, you'll find a link to DOT's website where those plans are there, as well as just speaking to the Murchison Road project that's funded by NCDOT. City Council actually has a resolution of support for that project on this coming Monday night's agenda. And so that information is within that council packet. Also, just to give a couple details on what that support is now and has been in the past, is council's previously passed a resolution of support to have a 10-foot wide multi-use path on the, I'll say, eastern side or northern side of Murchison Road, and a 5-foot sidewalk on the southern or western side of Murchison Road in the limits of that project, which are from I-295 to just south of Pamela Drive. So just wanted to provide some clarity on exactly what that project is funded to do and install.
That's great to know, Mr. Lee. Thank you so much for giving us all this information. Additionally, I would kindly request if you're able to put that information or a link to your website where our folks could find more info. That would be super, super helpful, especially considering that these items are on the agenda for council review on Monday. Anyone that wants to learn more or wants to be engaged, that's an open engagement opportunity right there. I would encourage anyone interested to go ahead and check it out. Thank you much. Continuing with what is working, we were talking about how do residents utilize parks and open spaces within the neighborhood, what types of open spaces or recreational areas are missing, and how are residents currently connected to parks and open spaces. And the things that are working, where that Washington Drive side project is underway, the community garden on Colley Drive apparently seems to be working. The Big Cross Creek Trail should be coming soon. Renovation of Seabrook Park ball field is planned. So these are things that the community is looking ahead and is looking forward to. They are looking forward to the different trails tying in at Washington Drive, the tennis center off of Fiddler Plant, phase 2 of Veterans Park, the senior center at Fiddler Plant and Murchison Road, and the museum space behind the MLK statue is planned. So all of these are things that the community is looking forward to. Anything else that community members wanted to add as things that are working or things that you guys are looking forward to? All right, so as for things that are not working, the community reported that there's troubling and unsafe intersections. Residents feel uncomfortable walking in the environment in the summer. There's an additional comment about lack of street trees, and I can understand why it would be uncomfortable to walk by on the street in the summer if it's too hot. There are complaints about the bus schedule not working for typical employment schedules. And the issues that we just mentioned about needing more information about the current plans in place and how they affect or how they influence current and future development. So thanks everyone for putting your info on the chat and comments on the chat. Give me just a second. I am a team of one today. So thanks everyone that has put your info on the chat. Anyone is encouraged to follow up privately as well. And to use the chat features if you have trouble muting or unmuting yourselves, or if you want to comment something anonymously, you can message me directly and I will not read your name aloud. So on the second part of our first meeting, we talked about the desired outcomes. So as part of desired outcomes, we were thinking about what we should be trying to achieve in creating projects related to transportation. And the things that came up were you guys want to connect different amenities of the neighborhood through trails. You guys want connections to restaurant and services. You guys want more frequent and dependable bus services, reduction of traffic, and adding community amenities and services in accessible locations. Are we missing anything here? You guys are the working group, you guys are the people at the table, and this is a place where we want to get your voice heard. So as of desired outcomes, is this list comprehensive or are we missing something?
I like the calm the traffic aspect, but I really feel like that's kind of a broad statement. I don't know if we really need to like break that down, because me in particular, one thing that I would like to see on Murchison Road, which I think would be a very good asset, are those walk signs and the walkways, the designated walkways, and the signs that light up telling the cars to slow down. Well, it alerts the cars to slow down while the pedestrians are trying to cross the street. I think that may be something that would be kind of like an immediate fix. I'm not sure, that's not, but I just wanted to add that in there because that's something that I didn't really see.
And also about the current speed limit on Murchison Road, reducing that, especially when you get closer to the more residential area, like the 1200, maybe up to about the 1800 block. Reducing the speed limit through that area.
And the student walkway, that, from the student housing to FSU, there's a really small walkway, and I'm not sure if that's like their designated crosswalk, but every morning I see someone trying to cross and cars just almost about to hit them. So I don't know if there's a way that we can alert the oncoming traffic that this is where the students are crossing to go to FSU.
Can I get the location of this intervention that you are talking about, Dominic, and also Jeanette? You mentioned the 1800 block off, and then I missed the street that you were talking about.
1200 to 1800 block
Of Murchison?
Of Murchison Road. It's actually like the heavily residential area. So that's Fairway State going north.
Thank you. And then the student walkway, Dominic, what street and what cross?
So it's right behind Langdon Street and Murchison Road. If you're headed towards Bragg Boulevard, it'll be Langdon, and then the student crosswalk not too far in front of that.
It's right at the football field.
Thank you, Jeanette.
There is a light up there that gives you a notification to slow down. People may be ignoring it. It's right over the top.
So we can also talk about maybe enhanced traffic controls at, I don't know, peak traffic hours to make sure that they are actually following those signs.
I think that's a great idea.
Okay, I'm making notes as fast as I can. So if you hear me furiously typing and if you see a lot of typos, please bear with me, okay? To make sure that drivers and pedestrians. Okay, thank you very much. Awesome, great. So it looks like we are already jumping ahead a little bit into strategies of how to make our streets safer. So that's
if I
great.
could offer one, get more clarification on one of the comments that was made as well. This
Go
is
for it.
Lee again from the city. I think you mentioned some connectivity questions. It would be great to get some specific information on where those concerns are, because the city has a connectivity study that is going to begin probably in the next month or two. And it would be great to have that information on where those concerns of lack of connection, I'm assuming, exist, and we can have that included in part of the study. Thank you.
Thank you so much for bringing that up. So I was not in the last meeting. I will probably need to review the recording of last meeting where what people meant when they said that they wanted a trail that connects different amenities in the neighborhood. They definitely want a connection to restaurants and services. So if you don't mind, I am going to put my email on the chat. I will be happy to follow up privately on a separate email with the information after I review the recording, if that's okay. Okay, so another desired outcome regarding open space, we were asking what we should be trying to achieve by creating projects related to open space. So on the wish list is better promotion of MLK Park. You guys want walkability to downtown, more overall connectivity. So you're right. That's a broad statement. We need to dissect, like, connectivity to what, to where, from where, for whom, right? They want connections to Masaryk Park and the Masaryk Trail. They want to create playgrounds that are more interesting and stimulating for kids, right? Are we missing something here on this list of desired outcomes regarding open space? At the beginning, you guys mentioned that you guys wanted to create artscapes, you guys want to create opportunities and art interventions. I think that I don't see any of those here. This would be the moment where we start talking about them.
I like to see a skating ring for the kids. Skating ring in the area. Is that up there?
It is not here, but I am writing it onto the board right now. Additional requests, additional opportunities, additional outcomes that you would like to see?
I would like to see a municipal restaurant park for the Murchison Road restaurant owners that are struggling on Murchison Road right now.
Are you talking like some type of business
Food
incubator?
truck. Yeah, a food truck park, a simple food truck park.
Great. Wonderful.
And maybe a nice Whole Foods grocery store.
That would be great.
That'll get the business rolling in, won't it?
We're dreaming big right here. We are dreaming big, and we have on all of our past working groups, there's always a request for a grocery store. So yes, this has been in the mind of your city leaders. It's been in the mind right now of this plan. We are trying to find a way of bringing more access to healthy foods. And right now we are brainstorming. We just had a meeting yesterday for another working group where one of the proposed solutions was like enhancing the farmers market at Bronco Square, or increasing the time or the availability of the farmers market so that more folks can access to fresh foods over there. So yes, we don't know if we are going to be able to bring a grocery store or a specific grocery store like Whole Foods into the neighborhood, but we are brainstorming with what we have and how could we possibly make it happen in a way that is accessible and in a way that is convenient and relevant for the community right now at Murchison, and also that doesn't result in gentrification, because we know that Whole Foods is associated with a specific type of with the specific types of neighborhoods sometime, or it usually when a Whole Foods comes into a neighborhood, it means that it's already changing, right? So thanks so much for bringing that up. You're totally right. Anyone else has additional comments on the desired outcomes?
Yeah, I wanted just to reflect back on the physical qualities of the Murchison neighborhood. We've talked about beautification. I've heard about murals and some other creative ideas, but I think we need to take a closer look at that, exactly what that would look like for our community. Quite frankly, I'm not a fan of murals. I think we have one that's, I think we have one that's beautiful. I'm not a fan of additional murals. To me, that has a very urban flair. And I don't see Murchison Road Corridor being cast in that light. But if we could talk about some other things, I know we talked about planners and having some statutes or some, some artwork that could potentially come out of some of the art programs here in Fayetteville, but to give some thought to that and what are some creative ideas we can come up with. That's not my bailiwick, so I'll defer to someone that may have that experience.
Thanks for your comment, Janet. You are totally right. There are other alternatives to beautification, and not all of them are murals, and not all of them are public art. What you were saying about planters and greenery definitely are alternatives. And if someone wants to respond, please go ahead.
I'm actually a fan of the murals, the public arts display. I'm not for sure exactly in which context does Ms. Janet mean murals? Like if it's something like the Wall of Honor, I've seen many large cities headed towards the area, just like we have some of the boxes downtown, like the electrical boxes that are usually just like silver. They've been painted blue and everything. So I don't see it as like them trying to urbanize Murchison community, because if that was the case, they'd be trying to like urbanize downtown. And that's exactly where the stadium is at. So they're really trying to like one thing that I missed, there was this barbershop that was there that had this huge thing of Nipsey Hussle. And I forget who the other person was, but I thought that was absolutely beautiful. And it was relevant to the community, not so much the, but the atmosphere. That's what I want to say, the culture in the community. I don't see that's what we're gonna do, but I do like the public arts display. They're in Hawaii, they're in Austin, which is a huge place in Texas, they're in Houston. I've seen some in Raleigh. I think it's a pretty good idea to have those amenities.
I'm speaking more in terms of the proximity of murals and where they're actually placed. The one that we have now is right there on Langdon, leading up into Murchison Road, and it's actually capturing, the history of the community in terms of folks that have done outstanding things in the Murchison Road neighborhood. Now, if you're talking about putting something like a half a block down or half a block up, that to me is overkill, but that's just my opinion. And I'm not saying I'm right, I'm just expressing my opinion. In terms of what I've experienced in terms of art, being in the Richmond area, we had a program through Art 180 where they took these like sculptures of fish, and they let kids at the different elementary schools, they painted them. Some of them were auctioned off, others were placed strategically throughout the city. And they were beautiful. They all had different colors and different themes. And it was really, a reflection of the Richmond area. So those are the types of things, and along with greenery and pottery and all that great stuff. So those are some of the things that I'm talking about for Murchison Road, because there is a stigma attached to it that it's not the best area, but we want to change that. Someone suggested at another meeting that I was in, let's focus on a color that reflects, the community. And you see that color throughout the Murchison Road corridor, and a theme, of course, in terms of a slogan. So those are some things that have been tossed around that, could help with the beautification process. So.
One of the things that I've seen in open spaces, and particularly trying to attract children and families, are story walks, which are pages of children's storybooks are displayed along a path. And as the people walk along the path, they read each page till they get to the end of the story. So that can easily be done in an open space that is that has trails throughout it. I haven't been to, there's supposed to be one at Clark Park. I haven't been there yet, but that would be an example of one. The other thing that I think that's important to think about is just making sure that whatever spaces are created, that there's some kind of system in place, whether it's community supported or city supported, to keep that area maintained and clean.
Okay, you guys, is there anyone else that want to give their input? Andrea will be joining us again shortly. Her computer crashed, I'm sorry. So I'm not able to see the Mentimeter screen or anything. Hopefully it won't take long. She said she's restarting now. But Ms. Scott, I really do love your idea. I think Seabrook Park has something kind of familiar, well, not familiar, similar to that. If you see their sidewalk, it looks like they put public art there. Is a big sun. I think it's a rainbow and something else that like really attracts the attention of the children. So I do like that idea. And I think with the Masaryk Park thing, that was one thing they wanted to do, create like a walking story. So that was actually brought up as well. So I really do like that idea. I'm going to write that down for when Andrea comes back. Is there anybody else that want to provide their input about things that they would like to see in a community, things that they feel like we should take away?
Okay, hi, this is Kim, community ambassador. I wanted to know if it was at all possible in the vein of the community garden. How about we also have herbal or herbs in that garden or in planters along the corridor, like for instance, Rosemary Street. Why not rosemary bushes and things of that nature?
Kim took my idea.
Well, let me tell you, that is, well, I'm glad Kim did, Ms. Sharonda, because I'm not sure if we would have heard it from you, but that is an excellent, excellent idea. And that's something that's like free and public is what I'm understanding, that, you know, just regular, as people are walking, they could probably take some. Is that?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
I love it, Kim.
Yeah, I love it too. And that seems like something that should be maybe easy to implement. But let me write that down.
Yeah, I mean, do we have anybody from Cooperative Extension participating in this group?
Go ahead, Kim. I'm sorry, you're about to say something?
No, I was finished. Oh yes, I did want to give credit to Miss Sharonda because yes, I did hear that from her. But again, I wasn't sure if she was going to speak on it. So, yeah. But it was her original idea.
I was just waiting for the right time.
Yes, ma'am.
We currently don't have anyone from Cooperative Extension on the line. However, we do have a really good contact, quite a few. And the idea that, I'm sorry, that Sharonda has, that Kim spoke on, that's something that we can convey to them.
Yeah, I think it's really important that we try to incorporate them as much as possible.
Okay.
Yeah, someone had in the chat a question about the funding for the Langdon Street mural. I know the young lady, Miss Felder, she has been under the weather, so I'm not quite sure where that stands right now. I'll get with Cynthia, because she stays in contact with her to see if what's going on with that effort. So.
Okay.
I am back, guys. I am sorry about that. My computer just crashed, but thanks for staying. I'm sorry about what I missed. Jonad, you got cut off while you were in the middle of talking. I don't want to make you repeat yourself because it looks like you guys were continuing the conversation in a very organic and very positive way. So I'm really sorry about that. Unless there's some anything that you want me to put on the notes, please do let me know, and I will try to back as far as I can.
We did have a couple good suggestions. One was a walking story trail that Ms. Scott brought up. You know, as far as like, and I think you may have heard some of that, where you walk along, you have a piece of the story, and as you continue like throughout the entire trail, the story finishes, and it has like pictures and everything with it. And then there was an idea that Ms. Kim brought up that Sharonda thought of, like, as we should plant herbs along the streets, such as like Rosemary Street. She was saying that we should plant rosemary on that street. Yeah, so it was a really great idea. And that's something that could be open to like all of the residents to just kind of come and take some, and you know, so it's a free open herb garden. And I think that was a really great idea.
Yes, that sounds really, really awesome. So planting herbs, the names, street names. Thank you so much for catching me up on what I missed. And again, please accept my apology.
No problem.
I am afraid that if I share my screen again, my computer is gonna crash. So I am just afraid. Is it okay if we keep moving along? Anyone wants closing remarks on the desired outcomes about transportation and open space?
It wasn't mentioned in this group. I heard it mentioned yesterday. Someone was saying to put speed bumps along the street.
All right, I am writing that down.
Were they suggesting Murchison as the street where the speed bumps will be placed? Yeah, it's just the functional classification of the street. It's considered a major thoroughfare, and I don't know. We can definitely ask. We should ask. Yeah, we'll get an answer one way or the other. Yeah. All right.
Well, possibly where FSU is, where the walkways are, where the people are not, and the intersections where they are not adhering to slowing down or allowing the students to cross. We kind of, put speed bumps there so they have no other alternative but to slow down. I mean,
There are some other I guess functional tools and things that can be done, and we will definitely, I will add those to the list, definitely.
Thanks, Hank, and thanks, Kim, for the clarification. Okay, so I'm actually gonna go ahead and share my screen again, and hopefully it doesn't crash again. I'm just like really afraid, guys. Okay, so what we are talking about now, where the last working group meeting ended, was we brainstormed some possible strategies that we could focus on as part of this project. So top, front, and center, it's focus on traffic calming strategies like speed bumps, these things that you're saying. Absolutely, they are front and center, top of the list, right? We are talking about getting people involved in Coley Drive Community Garden. Perhaps this Coley Drive Community Garden could be an example of what the community wants to see at Murchison townhouses on their wish list item about a community garden, right? They want to utilize ROW to connect Murchison Road to Glenville Lake. Anyone cares to explain what is ROW? Row? They want to
It
draw,
should be the street right of way.
right.
That's all. All right.
Thank you. I knew that. Wow, sorry about that. Natural play spaces. Okay, they want to create or they want to enhance natural play spaces, and they want facilitated play programs, or like an example of play rangers. Additional strategies are design a plan for cross creek boardwalks and asphalt 10-foot trail. And they want a walking story trail and plant herbs with the street names. So these were two that just came up as we speak, right? So now I am gonna send you guys a poll on the chat. And what this poll is asking you guys to do is to rank the strategies that we identified from last time, to rank them in order of importance. And then we will continue the conversation based on how the priority turns out from this poll, okay? One moment, I am
So
enabling.
while you're doing that, Andrea, Dominique, I think it's Mr. Antonio, what monies were given to the mural on Langdon Street? Was that a grant or something? You're on mute,
It was a grant, so they could continue or finish the mural. And I don't know if you remember, Miss Jonette, they spoke about it at Miss Cynthia's house about the mosaic, you know, how they wanted to do the little tiling along the rest of the wall. So I do know that they did receive funding. I just don't know what they plan to do as far as like finishing the project.
You don't know who gave them the money?
It was, do you mean like, was it through the city of Fayetteville or?
Right.
I can possibly go find out if you can give me a moment.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay.
Just one more moment with your patience while I put the poll on screen. One moment, please. Okay, so we are talking about the transportation and open space. I am gonna put the code on the chat in one moment. Present. Were you guys able to answer the poll from the chat?
I don't see it in there yet. It's in there. It's in there now.
Okay, great.
Miss Janet, just to answer your question really quickly, Chris and Taurus, they're both in a meeting right now, so I can't really answer your question. So, but I can find out if you don't find out from Miss Cynthia first.
Okay, I appreciate that.
At one time, I think the city of Fayetteville was funding the mural. I think when we initially wrote the grant for the mural, we had to submit it to the Arts Council of Fayetteville. And yeah, I think that's what was funded. That was back in 1980 when we first submitted the proposal to Arts Council of Fayetteville.
Thank you so much for your answer, Maurice. Okay, so according to the options that we had in the priorities for transportation and open space, it looks like you guys ranked them as follows. First priority was installing traffic calming measures like street bumps. Second was investing in additional Seabrook Park improvements. Third was promoting MLK Park as a neighborhood asset. And then fourth and so on was establishing summer camp programs, expanding walking trails and connections to Glenville Lake, creating natural play spaces in the neighborhood. Oh, I see the priorities shifting now. Still, traffic calming measures are ranking number 1. And MLK Park now as a neighborhood asset is number 2. And priority number 3 is a summer camp program. They continue to shift. That's fine. I can give you guys 1 more minute to submit your answers if that's all right. And then we're gonna have a conversation based on the end of based on the order of priorities. Okay. So please take 1 more minute, and I can't wait to hear your answers.
It's telling me I already voted and I haven't.
Can you refresh it from your phone or from your computer?
I don't even have a poll. I don't see it.
You have to go to menti.com and then put that code in and it'll pop up.
I am writing it on the chat right now. Sharonda, if you can see it on the chat, hopefully this will work for you. Okay, so if everyone voted, and even if you were unable to vote, please, we want to hear your comments and we want to hear what led you to choose your priorities the way you did. So anyone wants to open the conversation, and I am going to be making notes. It looks like the priority shifted from traffic calming measures to promoting MLK Park as a neighborhood asset. So I think that we can all agree that green spaces and spaces for outdoor recreation are real community assets. So I am not surprised to see MLK at the top of the list. Anyone wants to share why they chose this way?
I didn't put that as first, but I do want to just say I'm a little shocked that it is first, being that it's so far away from the townhouses. The traffic calming features, that was definitely my number 1, and community gardens, because those are 2 immediate things that could possibly be implemented to solve some immediate needs. But oh, and I like the idea of bicycle lanes, because that's another thing that would slow down the traffic. But I would really like to hear about the MLK Park as well. I feel like it is kind of hidden. I'm not from the area, and I actually went trying to find it today, and it says that it's on Blue Street, and I don't I couldn't find it. So it's, it's hidden. So I can see, that being, people wanted to promote it, to basically say, hey, it's here.
Thanks for your comment, Dominic. Anyone else?
We have Antonio put in the chat that he would like to see something art focused on the survey. I think it's centered around improving the quality of life. If I'm saying that wrong, Antonio, let me know. I'm trying to help Andrea out because she's got double duty today.
Thank you, Jeanette. Much appreciated. And I agree so much with Antonio. You know what, Antonio, like, you are right. I am actually shocked to see that there are no art options on the table right now. But if you want to write your comment and we can start a conversation around that, that would be just as helpful. Unfortunately, a lot of these options that we have on the table, I mean, on screen right now, were driven by the folks who attended the meeting the last time. So maybe if there were not art folks in the meeting last time, they didn't bring it up. But we are happy to have you today. And I definitely want to encourage you to tell us more about your idea and what led you to what prompted your comment.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, just looking at, the arts sector that we have in downtown Fayetteville, and if we're looking to kind of like, expand onto the Murchison corridor and kind of follow some of those same footprints, I'd love to see some kind of artwork, whether it's expanding, the temporary or the public art installation that's already downtown, whether it's murals, whether it's a sculpture park closer to the townhouses, whether it's putting artwork, like artwork hubs at the different transportation open spaces, like if they're going to have a bus stop, to have some artwork at the bus stop too, just to bring some color into the Murchison Road corridor. I feel like improving all those aspects and giving people, beautiful things to look like, it increases that quality of life and just people wanting to be in the area.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for pointing that out. And I think that you are very, very, very right.
Is there anyone that can possibly explain to me what is meant by establish a large lot program? Like adjacent homeowners acquire vacant lots. Is that only so people can like park, or what would be in that large lot program? If anybody can speak to that.
That came up in one of our meetings. I'm not quite sure what was meant by that. I think we would have to listen to maybe that first recording, and I didn't get a chance to listen to it to get an understanding of what that meant, because I saw it on the Adam sent this out. Adam and Andrea sent this out to us, and I saw it on there, but I didn't get an opportunity to go listen to get further understanding as to what that meant. So I had that same question, Dominique. What are they referring to? I don't know if they're referring to vacant lots that are out there. Maybe can the homeowner buy it and do something with it? I wasn't quite sure what that meant. So, and I don't know if that person is on here today that can speak to it. I'd love to hear.
Right. Yes, if that person is here, please feel free to speak up. I know from other cities that, for example, if there's a vacant lot and the community takes over and they start creating a community garden, or they start using it for like community events, for example, and they just upkeep it so that the city doesn't need to spend resources in like mowing the lawn and like removing the trash and all of that. Eventually that vacant lot can be converted through the land bank. It can be given to the community kind of like for free. I know that some cities have that type of programs, and maybe this is what Dominic, I don't know if this is what Dominic means. I think that we would have to look at if there's such a program available here in Fayetteville and see what's the process to do so, right?
That sounds like trespassing, but if it's a program that's out there that can, support the community, doing it in that type of setup, I guess that's okay. Huh. Interesting.
There are several programs, what here in Atlanta, Georgia, whereas they do provide vacant lots to community organizations like community gardens so they can use it. It's a common thing. It's not unusual. It's city lots. Most of them are city lots still, and they just allow community gardens to use them. We contacted the city of Fayetteville because we have several vacant lots around our community garden, which, by the way, is actually on Church Street, not Coley Drive. We acquired, because there are several lots in this area which are owned by the city of Fayetteville, overgrown, unused, that we will try to get so we can clear it out and make it accessible and available to the community. And we copied that from another city, which is also doing that program.
So
I don't know if this is what they're talking about. I don't even know, but I've ran into this issue.
So Maurice, are you aware of what the process is? If that opportunity would be available at Murchison, or if it's specific for that area on Church Street?
I don't know. I just know that when I was doing the review of other cities, certain community garden owners just went to the city and got vacant or tax foreclosed land, and they were allowed to use it for the gardening purpose.
Great. Thank you. So we should definitely look into that type of program for these opportunities. So I hear that some folks disagreed with the MLK as a neighborhood asset. So do you guys have other assets that you would like to promote more than MLK? And I am just like trying to pick your brains right here, guys.
I feel like Bronco Square is a huge asset to the neighborhood as well, and it's going to be growing. So Bronco, but again, that's a little bit further down from the townhouses. But I feel like Bronco Square was a good asset for the community. It definitely changed the end closer to Bragg Boulevard. And I also think Smith Recreational Center and Seabrook Park, it's kind of in the middle of the corridor. I feel like it's in the middle. I feel like that is a really good asset. There's a pool there, a large play area. So that's that's something that should be, kind of like highlighted and frequented. Smith, they have a lot of programs, for adults, for children. So I'm not sure if everyone in the community knows about what happens at Smith.
Great. I love your input, Dominic. Thank you so much. So the community already has all these assets, and it looks like residents are not taking advantage of them because they are not being promoted enough.
Someone did say that yesterday in a meeting. They said that they wish that we could expand or heighten the way that we promote. I don't recall their exact words, but they were saying that it needed to be promoted, on a wider scale.
Okay. Or in a more community appropriate way, right? Because if we are promoting on social media, but our residents don't use social media, then it's like we're not reaching our audience, right?
I agree.
As an example. Great, thank you so much. How about let's go back to traffic calming features. So we may have some challenges with speed bumps if Murchison Road is a state-owned road, but what could be other interventions that we could brainstorm that would perhaps result in reducing, I don't know, like reducing exposure or reducing speed or reducing the incidence of car crashes?
Well, the suggestion of the bicycle lane additions would definitely slow speeds down, and it would also provide an alternative transportation mode for folks, whether they live, north as far as the townhouses, or south past the university. You know, it's another mode of transportation for folks that live in the neighborhood and community. The other transportation mode or connection, and it's not so much the physical community centers that were mentioned before, but another community asset would be the greenway trails that are being proposed along Cross Creek and also Little Cross Creek. So there's a large greenway trail that exists, you know, near Glenville Lake, but it's going to be extended further up Little Cross Creek towards the townhouses. And that would also provide another alternative transportation mode for folks that live as far north as the townhouses and connect them or provide them another transportation mode down to the university. There's another greenway trail being proposed along Cross Creek that is on the backside of the university and heads north as well. And then we have the existing Cape Fear River Trail. I know the transportation folks, both the city and the county. I know we want to connect all of these trails, but once they are all built, we just have segments and sections. These are community assets that do need to be promoted. And just like the physical structures or community centers or neighborhood parks, you know, we need to do a better job of promoting the existing greenway trails, the proposed greenway trails, the connectivity that we need to be promoting. It's a lot of state funding, a lot of city funding, a lot of county funding that goes into the construction of these trails, but they are really nice. They are wonderful assets for the community. And a lot of folks don't know that they're there or that we are proposing significant and additional mileage of them. We need to do a better job.
Thank you so much, Hank, for recognizing that this as a challenge. And it's really great that your office is already thinking about increasing or improving the outreach effort in order to reduce these challenges, right? I see Ms. Kim has her hand raised. Do you want to go ahead?
Sure. Thank you, Andrea. Now, as far as connectivity to the trails, I've been to some cities, and this is just an idea. They have a free trolley that goes in a certain loop that connects key things. Could we maybe think about a trolley that has a loop to these certain trails as a connectivity, a way to connect them?
That's a good idea. I mean, we have, I think there's an existing trolley that operates downtown right now. Whether we have the opportunity to expand, you know, expand that route and have it go up Murchison or do some type of neighborhood or community loop. I coordinate with with the operators of FAST, the Fayetteville Area Transit System. We can ask that question as well.
Wonderful. It was just an idea.
Yeah.
Great. I actually have seen park systems where there is a trolley that connects like attractions among the parks. I'm talking about Niagara Falls State Park, not like a Disney park. And also I am thinking that, for example, by bike, sometimes distances that may feel long or times that may feel long on foot, by bike, they become accessible. So I wonder if there is a local bike organization or if there's a bike advocacy group that would be interested or could partner with the MPO to lead like a bike ride connecting those trails, like let's ride from Cape Fear to MLK Park on the next Sunday. Come on, I'm thinking. And it would be a way that people start getting aware of how to connect from one part of the neighborhood to the other. I don't know, has anyone thought of something like that? Do you guys think that it would be possible?
I think that's another good idea as well. I have only been here for 7 months, so I still need to reach out and develop some relationships with the local bicycle shop owners. But they typically like that sort of thing. It's a economic development for them. It promotes their business, and maybe it'll promote, some folks in the community that purchase bicycles. And oftentimes they will volunteer bicycles for a bike ride. And then the overall emphasis or activity would, as you state, promote the parks and promote the community assets that we are talking about. So it's an option and an opportunity for us to do something in the future. So
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your comment.
I don't know if you're aware that at one time PwC used to sponsor a trail run around Glenville Park.
Mhm.
And there were certain running clubs that would come out and run the trail, mostly around Memorial Day. And it's a pretty large crowd, probably about 30 or 40. I don't know how they coordinated, but it's pretty amazing to see that. I mean, they're actually running through the woods. We'd be sitting out on our deck and we see about 30 people run through the woods along the lake on the Murchison Road side. So maybe PwC can give us some assistance on getting people aware of the trails as well.
PwC. What does PwC stand for, Maurice?
Public Works Commission, City of
I know
Fayetteville.
all these things. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you very much for that. Anyone wants to, we have 9 minutes left of time. We haven't discussed that much about community gardens. Anyone wants to add comments regarding community gardens?
There was, I attended this grassroots conference with Jeanette, Kim, and the rest of the ambassadors. And I sat in on this green spaces one. And I have a really good contact and A&T as well that can assist with that. There's this family that started their own community garden, and they taught everyone how to like capture their own water without having like a city line ran, how to make above ground planters in case the soil underneath was not good enough. I can give that information to you, Andrea, or to Adam, and see if it would be beneficial to reach out to them.
Absolutely. I think that it would lead any potential of possible partnerships is going to be very welcome in what you're saying. Like it would lead to, like, we don't know what it will lead to, but if the outcome is teaching families how to collect rainwater or how to do, I don't know, better gardening in their backyards, like anything would be good outcome, right?
I know sometimes when people think about community gardens, they're thinking about gardens that are used to produce food. But there are also other gardens that could be thought about, like a children's discovery garden. Onslow County has a example of what that looks like, and it's actually right there at their cooperative extension.
Absolutely, you're totally right. These gardens are assets not only for like adults, they should be used as well as discovery spaces for child development. That's a great idea. Thanks so much for that, Candy.
You're welcome.
Since we have a community garden, which is called the Gardens at Glenville Lake, we are looking at the possibility of using it not just as growing food and for the youth. We have been contacted by certain retired educators who want to bring in children so they can play in the garden. but we're also looking at using it as a tool so we can train individuals who would have a desire to become master gardeners. Right now, we have 2 candidates in the Cumberland County Extension Program who are seeking to become master gardeners with the understanding that we can bring more individuals, especially the young, into the garden space and teach them and train them how to become master gardeners. So it's just, as she said, there's a lot of things you can do with these green spaces. You know, not only just grow food, but we have one elderly woman on Murchison Road who's teaching, who is a former Peace Corps volunteer, who's also a master gardener, and she's introducing us to what she called medicinal plants so that she can educate the community about other types of plants other than just food that can go into a garden. So it's just a matter of opening it up. And once, I mean, what we have found is that when we opened it up and started talking to people about community gardens, we got a wealth of input from the community right there on Murchison Road. I mean, we were really amazed by the number of folks that do garden who want to get involved. So I think the community garden is a way of bringing this community together. And that's why we put it in that community next to Fayetteville State University.
Absolutely. Yes, totally right. You did mention several names and they escaped me. Do you mind repeating the names of those gardens so that I can look them up after this meeting? But you're on mute.
You want me to text you to it? Just tell you, it's just one. The gardens.
Just tell me because I'm making.
Yeah, it's called the Gardens at Glenville Lake, and the address is 1417 Church Street.
Glenville Lake. Thank you very much. All right. We are in the last 5 minutes of our meeting. Anyone else wants to submit a comment? So I'm gonna go through the comments that we've been receiving on the chat. Tara said that Department of Transportation provided a grant for the Wall of Honor. I don't understand downtown and Haymount. It's run by Cool Spring Downtown District, which controls downtown. Antonio, what is this in regards to?
That was in regards to the trolley, Andrea.
Ah, wonderful. Okay, thank you very much. We're talking about pollinator gardens and how the community then sells the honey for the community needs. That's a really interesting idea. And some of our members are needing to take off, which that's perfectly cool. This is a voluntary meeting. Thanks everybody for joining us today. Anyone wants to give closing remarks?
Andrea, I just want to say thank you for your facilitation, even through pushing through the technical issues. You still made it happen. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much for your patience. Thank you guys so much for your effort, for staying engaged. This project is, the only reason why this project is going to be successful is because we have folks like yourselves that are committed to supporting and to guiding the plan in the direction that the community needs to go. So thank you so much for that. Our next meeting, just one moment, I will tell you when is our next meeting. Thanks for your patience again. Our next meeting is going to be on March, sometime in March. We're looking at March. Yes, March 9th at 3:30 p.m. So save the date. And what we're going to be discussing on our next meeting is all of the strategies that we just talked about today. We are going to try to dissect them and go into like the nitty-gritty details of them on how to make them happen. Okay, so stay tuned. Anyone that needs to follow up privately, feel free to reach out by email, and I'm going to be happy to reply to you or Dominique as well. So thanks for your effort. Thanks for joining us, and I hope that you guys have a great rest of your week.
Thank you. And bye-bye.
Great meeting.
Bye.
Bye-bye.